Good evening. Thank you for watching. This is our weekly current affairs update in English, live from Net TV studios. I'm Leah Hogg. Our topic today is the proposed report on the decriminalization of prostitution. And I have great pleasure in introducing you to my guest, who is Her Excellency Marie Louise Coleiro Preca, President Emeritus. I really thank you for joining us in person today.
Thank you, Leon.
I know you're very careful about social distancing, so I thank you very much.
Thank you.
The proposed report on decriminalization, you've appeared on quite a few media platforms and written some articles. Could you perhaps share your thoughts and also tell us a bit more about it, because perhaps some people at home don't know very much about it.
Yes, I'm very concerned, Leah, but I am also part of a national coalition that has been formed last year. It's a huge coalition. I think it is a very first one for this country. A coalition of 40 non-governmental organizations, civil society organizations that come from across the spectrum. These are organizations mostly that work with and for women. But again, I mean, there's the most liberal to the, maybe to the conservative. This is a very wide spectrum, where we all agree on one thing, that prostitution has to be decriminalized, but not without regulation for who is selling, or rather buying prostitution. So what we have been saying, that there's a number of recommendations which are very, very important, who have been presented to Honorable Julia Farrugia when she was Parliamentary Secretary, and it was within her remit, this reform. This was, I think, in October of last year. We are concerned because we have offered, as a national coalition, concrete recommendations of how we should go about it. In no way we want the prostitute to be criminalized. We want the prostitute to be decriminalized and given the support and the care that is needed so that the person will come out of prostitution. We also are very concerned because we cannot disintegrate prostitution from human trafficking, and also prostitution from violence. So there is a whole scenario that has to be considered before any decisions should be taken. The National Coalition also has presented these recommendations to the Social Affairs Committee earlier this year, so that we ensure that what all these organizations that have come together on one platform is heeded, because it is not something which is coming off the cuff. It is studied. It is evidence-based. On this national coalition, there are also a number of experts. And one of our very important sort of points, concerns, is that the technical committee that has been set up within the Parliamentary Secretariat for Equality, there are no representatives from the National Commission for Equality, for example, which is, after all, a national agency, one could say. No experts in the field,
you're saying
and
that
nobody that represents the National Coalition itself.
Sure. So what you're saying is that there's no expert advice.
Yes, and we seem from what has been said in the public, that what we've been promoting, or rather encouraging, has been completely ignored. Last week, I was quite encouraged by some comments that were expressed publicly by the Prime Minister. However, we need to see concrete steps forward to lessen our concerns. We know, I mean, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. because other countries have passed through a whole process. We have spoken of the Nordic model, where Sweden and Denmark have adopted this Nordic model, and there are a number of other countries, after they have had an experience of completely liberalizing everything. So if for them, they have passed through this the initial experience and then adopted this model whereby the prostitute is decriminalized, but the buying of prostitution is actually criminalized, then why should we invent the wheel for ourselves? For example, Germany and the Netherlands, they have liberalized completely. Spain, they all have difficulties. For example, we have to ask ourselves, do we want to become, or rather to adopt a situation like Spain, where we know that human trafficking in these countries is really a huge problem and a huge concern. And we have to ask ourselves, what sort of a society are we looking for? What sort of a legacy we're going to leave to our children? Do we want Malta to become a sex tourism hub? Is this the sort of tourism that we want for our country? Is this the sort of means to get economic growth? I think we should reflect. It is a moment for deep reflection. We have the evidence. We also have people that want to come forward and speak. People have passed through the experience. This is not, sometimes there's this mix in the conversations that are engaged into. Mostly these are women, and the majority, absolute majority, are women, and they come from vulnerable situations. They're vulnerable. They're used. They're exploited. They are completely disowned of their dignity. Is this what we want to promote? We are there for equality. We promote gender equality. But is this what we want? Disowning women, vulnerable women, for out of their dignity? It's not that, because I hope not, at least.
I hope
that
not.
That we think otherwise, and we think wisely. We think wisely. There are models that we can look to.
In your opinion, the Nordic model is the right way to go?
Tried and tested model, which actually Sweden has reduced and decreased the issue of prostitution. Where there was complete liberalization, human trafficking has increased and prostitution has increased. So there are models. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Why should we? We will waste time, resources, simply by trying to create something of our own, which could be a whole mess. Mm-hmm. When there is something already that is working, we should look at that.
Stick to it.
It's logic, you know.
In your opinion, decriminalizing prostitution in our country, would that make it more attractive for sexual tourism, and perhaps obviously cause a problem by giving us a bad reputation, and then our hospitality and tourism will suffer as a result?
It's not just a reputation, Leah. The effects also of such situations, we haven't been speaking of, for example, effects of prostitution and the consequences of disease, for example. We haven't been speaking of that. We need to speak of that as well. Because who will first and foremost, the victims of prostitution will suffer. But also the whole population will suffer, because we have to cure or manage such diseases.
Yes.
So even that, it's not simply the reputation, but also the type of environment that we will be creating.
Yes.
We need to think also what sort of an environment It could be, for example, I live in a block of apartments. So if we liberalize in such a way that I wouldn't know my neighbors, they could be having, they could be, doing business in this sense within my block of apartment. I'm just mentioning this because, yes, even this, do we want this situation to be widespread all over the country? Is this the way we want to live? Is this the sort of environment that we want to live in? Not just us, but even more so, our children.
Sure.
I mean, I would rather leave our children
and
a better legacy
the morality
than that.
of the country and the people of the country.
Yes, and it is dignity. It's the ethical way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
We should look at the dignity of the person. And it is, I'm sorry, if taking up the very small percentage of those that choose to be in prostitution, to apply it to the whole spectrum, we are really fudging the whole situation.
Absolutely.
The majority of people in prostitution are women and vulnerable women.
And women who suffer
who
a lot.
have no choice,
who
ended up in prostitution because either they were trafficked, given the idea of being held into jobs or something like that, or else because they were sort of constrained to seek financial means of there are a lot of examples.
Desperate. In fact, we're going to see an example because we have a short clip of a very brave woman who went from Indonesia to the United States to get a job in the hotel industry. And she found that she was being trafficked for prostitution, sex slavery, and drugs, which come hand in hand with that sort of crime. So we're going to have a look at her story, and then we're going to actually speak to her. So let's see her story together.
Out of all the cases that I've done, her case always stuck in my mind.
These people who are forcing these women into this are just walking amongst us like every regular person. You would never know.
I grew up in Indonesia. I saw an advertisement promised 6-month seasonal job in the United States. When I arrived in New York, someone asked me, "Are you Shandra?" I went with him. They put me inside the van.
One of the first things when Sandra landed, the person who picked her up at the airport took her passport.
Not long after, he locked me up. He wanted us to undress. He pulled out the gun from his pocket and pointed on my forehead. "You start working." Every 45 minutes, I was sold. One night, I spoke to myself and I prayed, "I cannot take it anymore. It is enough."
Sandra's a very strong woman. She actually crawled out of a small window. She dropped 2 stories down.
I closed my eyes and I jumped. I just felt the fresh air and I was alive.
She ended up getting up and running away.
We get a phone call, a woman claiming she was held against the will and forced into prostitution.
One of the detectives was trying to trace back how she got to the precinct. Sandra said, "That's the house right there." We crashed the place. There was 2 other victims there. There was something like close to 10 male customers.
Arrests were made and the case was prosecuted. Shandra told me how she was in a dark room when she was kidnapped and how she never saw sunlight.
Mentari means sun, sunlight.
What we do is we help survivors of human trafficking.
Housing, food, clothing, we provide vocational training to earn money and live independently. This is empowerment.
Before, I have these doubts, no confidence at all.
Now I'm a culinary educator and I'm happy living independently in my own home.
Mentari, they are not just a support system, but they are my family. I've learned to love again. Shandra is an amazing human being.
Most victims will just walk away and go on with their lives. She's brought nationwide attention to this.
She's on the U.S. Advisory Council for Human Trafficking. She just spoke today at the United Nations.
We cannot do it alone. We need community.
Chandra is shining the light, and I'm unstoppable. That's what it means to be worthy.
That was Chandra's story, and we're going to meet her now. Against all odds, Shandra was nominated by President Obama to represent the United States Advisory Board Against Human Trafficking. And I thank you very much, Shandra, for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you on our program.
Thank you for having me. And you are a part of the solution. By putting this program outside in the media, you educate so much people. Thank you.
Thank you. You've done a lot of hard work yourself. I'd like to introduce you to Her Excellency, our President Emeritus. And she'd also like to have a chat with you.
Hello, Chandra. Really thank you
Hi.
for your input today.
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be with you, to be with Leah in this specific program about human trafficking. Thank you.
And thank you for being brave, for standing up and voicing. Your strong voice is very important for women, to encourage them to come forward.
We need people like you in the front line, and we need leader like me to be able to empower survivors of human trafficking to step up, seeking help, because hope is out there. We need survivor voices to make changes, to make a better life, to work without slavery.
And Shandra, if I can ask you, how has COVID-19 affected this human trafficking industry? We spoke a bit earlier today.
Yes. So OSCE created a guideline related to global recommendation that established by ODIHR, OSCE, and the UN Women. It effect from how the way trafficker recruited the victim. Now, most of the time, the technique will be online. Many children lure to online prostitution, which is pornography, online sexual services, and also so many survivors still seeking help. Many victims out there cannot get out from the situation. They are more vulnerable. Whoever still in the situation right now, they are more vulnerable because of the COVID-19. Example, in another country like India, example in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Hong Kong, those people don't have food. They are outside. And the technique of selling, buying human beings are changed. They don't get paid, and they are locked, and they cannot seek help. It is this time. So I changed our services, become online, how do we serve a survivor of trafficking. We give them food, and all vocational training become an online. And it is not effective, but we have to keep going. We have to give our energy, our time for the better life of those who need our help. So this recovery, this reintegration also slowly move because of the social distancing, the virus that we cannot see, and all combination.
What alternatives can a victim have if they'd like to get out of that ring of human trafficking? and the prostitution that follows.
Yes. So I think now we know about the difficulties of COVID-19, but I would like to encourage everybody who are in the situation right now. Be patient, take opportunity to think the safe way to get out by calling 1-888-3737-888, which is international number.
I didn't realize that's very useful, isn't it? That there's an
Yes,
international
to
number.
have a number.
Would you like to share some words? Because we
Yes,
can't.
I think Chandra is confirming that most situation and prostitution is intrinsically linked with human trafficking. Maybe you can explain further on that, Chandra, the link between human trafficking and prostitution.
Can you
Yes.
hear, Shandra?
So, again, it is National Human Trafficking Hotline that you can access easily from the website, and the number will be appear over there, 1-888-3737-888. So this is one way that the victim can help, ask help, and seek help.
What is once a person finds that they are a victim of human trafficking, how is the process that takes them into prostitution?
Most of the time, prostitution happening because of force, fraud, and coercion. And coercion we cannot see because it's through manipulation, threat and manipulation, and most of the women and children, about 72% or more, who are victims of prostitution. And most of them, I can say, most of them, 99%, they are manipulated, exploited, and trafficked. There is no such of this is type of job. This is abuse. This is a violence.
Yeah.
Your Excellency.
Yes, really thank you for your insight to this, because we do believe that people that pass through the experience are the actual experts on the issue, and you have given us further insight to what our research and evidence-based research that we have is showing us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chandra. Thank you. I hope we'll be able to join you again very soon. Thank you for your input.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. What a lovely woman. What a lovely woman.
Yes, yes.
To conclude on this.
Yes, I think Chandra has, through her own experience and her sense of courage to speak about it, has confirmed that prostitution is interlinked with human trafficking. So this, if we're not careful, if we do not have the right regulation and the right reform, we could definitely be encouraging traffickers and pimps to find fertile ground in Malta.
Absolutely.
And God forbid.
I mean, this is one of the success stories.
Yes,
she is today a speaker also for the United Nations on the empowerment of women.
Yes.
So a very brave young lady.
Very brave woman, yes. Yes.
Thank you very much,
you,
Your
Lord.
Excellency, for joining us today. As usual, should you have any comments, any queries about this topic, you can contact Her Excellency President Emeritus Marie Louise Coleiro directly, or ourselves here at Net Television, and we'll pass on your comments. And even if anyone wants help, you're there to help them, aren't you?
Of course.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're having a short commercial break. I will see you very soon.